Hey folks, this is Kelani. I'm going to be talking about Nephalem Rifts. Now, first things first, to enter a Nephalem Rift, you require Rift Keystone Fragments. These are collected from bounties, so you'll need to go through various bounties before you can open your first Nephalem Obelisk. Now, you need to find the Nephalem Obelisk, which can be found as the little portal icon, golden portal, in any act. So this is openable in any act. You click on the Nephalem Obelisk. An interesting note is that you can actually leave your fragments in your stash and still access the obelisk, whether that's a good thing or not, but you get a random rift. Now, there's some discussion about whether rifts are worth running, and the typical answer seems to be it depends, and it entirely depends on what rift you get. So, I've had rifts where there have been monsters so many that I can't move. Quite literally. I've had to knock and CC them away just so I can get through to actually find anything to help me kill them, simply because they overwhelmed us. And I've found rifts where I've had to run for quite a long time from the entrance to get to the first monster. So some of them seem to be packed literally to the brim. Others, not so much. Now, there's also discussion whether it's worth going through the entire rift, because there are 5 levels, all of them supposedly randomly generated, so you get a different map, you get a different layout, as well as a chance at different monsters. So, for example, you can have these enraged phantoms all over the place. You can have mobs from Act 2 in tiles from Act 3. You can even have monsters from Whimsyshire. You can literally have any monsters, and that includes treasure goblins, which is why the discussion about clearing the entirety of the rift comes up, because you can find a room which is literally full of treasure goblins. 20, 30 treasure goblins all in one room, all waiting to drop you their shiny loot. Now, if that's somewhere in your rift, maybe on level 5, you're going to have to go through the entire thing to maybe find them. Or, if your rift seems to be a little lackluster, you can just restart. But the question still stands, do you kill the Rift Guardian first? Because the Rift Guardian does seem to drop quite a lot of loot, and that seems to be the main point of the Nephalem Rifts. So to spawn the Rift Guardian, what you're going to need to do is get this meter all the way to 100%, and obviously to do that we need to kill monsters, meaning that a more densely packed rift is going to get you the Rift Guardian faster, yet completing that rift is actually going to be more beneficial anyway if the other levels are still really dense, because at the end of the day killing monsters is what is going to get you the most loot the quickest. So it's kind of potentially worth, I'm going to say, potentially worth resetting if your rift seems to be incredibly sparse. Because not only are you going to get the Rift Guardian faster on a more densely packed rift, but you're also going to get more monsters to kill anyway. Now, if we can find one, which is just in here, how perfect. Nephalem Rifts are home to special pylons. Now, pylons act very much like shrines in that they'll give you a buff, except a pylon is sort of like a shrine on steroids. So, a shield pylon, for example, we'll go ahead and click it, makes you completely invulnerable for the duration. Now, pylons only last 30 seconds, so you're going to have to make the most of them, but they are ridiculous. There's one called a channeling pylon, which reduces the cooldown of all your skills and removes resource costs. So you get to happily spam your biggest resource dump and just crap all over everything, you really do. For example, there's a conduit pylon. Nearly forgot the name. A conduit pylon will spark chain lightning across every enemy, which practically always one-shots them. It's insane. You literally just run through your rift, and the pylon buff one-shots everything for you, which is incredibly frustrating if you've got no monsters around your pylon. I've had a conduit pylon which basically ran out as we got to a pack of monsters, which was incredibly disappointing, but they're still fun either way. So you can have quite a lot of fun with the pylons, but it's still a question of whether they're worth running, and I guess it's completely up to you. You can go ahead and just run bounties all day, but an interesting point about rifts is that they give you a lot more blood shards, so if the gambling with Kadala is something that you're kind of interested in or you like, then this will be an easier way to get more blood shards, meaning you have a higher chance, I guess, at other loot. Because if you're getting blood shards, every 5 blood shards is essentially another item dropped in the rift, just not by killing a monster. It's random loot whether you kill a monster and get a yellow or whether you gamble with Kadala and get a yellow. So it could be worthwhile, but I still think the best rewards come from the Rift Guardian. So let's have a look what that looks like. So we just got our Rift Guardian. Now these can be completely random, and what's interesting is that while they're completely random with appearance and basically which one you get, they can also have so many different skills, it's absurd, and some special skills which you don't get told about. As you notice, they don't have affixes listed under their name, so you kind of got to work things out as you go and try not to die. So you can see they drop quite a lot of stuff, including a sizable number of blood shards and even a chance of forgotten souls. So even if you don't drop a legendary, they can still give you the legendary crafting item, which is still pretty cool. So that's pretty much all I have to talk about rifts. They're really fun. You can have a really good rift or a really bad rift. If you have really bad rifts several times in a row, it can really ruin the experience, but I still think they're really worth running. I mean, if for nothing else, the Guardian drops a lot of stuff. A very good chance at legendaries there. If not, crafting materials, blood shards for more gambling, and you have a chance to find the fabled cow level. So, you know, the monsters down here are a lot of fun to kill. You can have goblins, you can have cows, you can have Whimsyshire, you can have random bits and pieces completely out of place, and it's just fun to just smash through them, especially if you get a super dense rift. So I'd say they're definitely worth running, but as a final note, I'd say run them on normal unless you can handle Torment, because at the end of the day, the faster you run these and get to the Guardian, the better chance you've got of finding loot, and there isn't a real discrepancy in loot until you get to Torment, where you can get the Torment specific set and legendary items. So anything below that is potentially taking more time for not much more profit. So I don't know, just a little thought to leave you with. But that's Rifts. If you have any other questions or queries, please leave them in the comments section below and I'll try to get back to you. Apart from that, remember to leave a like before you leave, and if you want to see more, feel free to subscribe. Thanks for watching, folks. Good luck and have fun, and as always, I will see you next time.